My Bujinkan classes are a process of discovery for me and for my students. I'm not trying to teach anything, I'm just trying to learn from the kata that we explore. Hello, my name is Michael Glenn, and in this episode of the Dojo Show, we're going to explore the kata Tachi Otoshi. This kata is deceptively simple. You're just trying to knock away your opponent's sword. But there are lessons for Ihen Sabaki hidden in this kata that I just recently discovered myself. We're going to continue with this kata. We've been looking at Tachi Otoshi, it's called, and it starts off with this same move that you just did, okay? So if I could have you over there, Paul, a little closer maybe, yeah. So I start off in Ichimonji no kamae, he starts off in Daishodan, okay? And as he cuts here, I receive this way, okay? This is the first move. Second move, strike down this way. Third move, strike to the head. Okay, 3 steps, pretty simple. So I receive this way, this hits kote, okay? And then that flips to the head. So here, I receive kote, head, all right? I'm trying to control the strike to kote and the strike to the head because it's kind of hazardous, right? But in reality, after you do this, you slam it onto kote, slam it into the head, okay? You guys give that a shot, please. Hey Paul, the footwork here is really specific. So yeah. I'm starting in Ichimonji here, like this. So you see both hands are down, yeah. Right? And in real Ichimonji, I would have the staff more pointed towards James's center there. Yeah. So he might not want to come in because it's dangerous for him. So in order to kind of give him a target, I let this drift off a little bit to the side. So now he feels more like he can attack, okay? So then the next step after that is I step back at this 45 here to receive. Okay. So then this left foot drops back and I strike. Okay. And then this just flips. With Bojutsu, as I always say, the distance is key. You have a distance advantage against his sword, right? And you want to always make use of that advantage. Don't let him come in on you because then you're in danger, right? So from Ichimonji, I'm far enough away that I'm pretty good shape, right? So he gets an opening here because this drifts off, right? Go ahead. So as he cuts, you see the distance now. So I don't want to stay at this distance. Come back. When I make my evasion, I drop out, okay? That's on purpose that I increase that distance because his second attack I also need to be prepared for. Back up a little bit there. All right, so when we go again, so see how I've dropped back here? So now Paul has trouble reaching me with a second attack unless he steps. Okay, he could lunge maybe, but it's harder, right? So I've increased that distance. Once again, here, okay? Here, you see my distance. I'm still far from him, okay? And then the last one, I can stay at this range. I don't have to come closer. It's very important for me to keep that range to make, if he wants to enter, he's gonna have to work for it. I step back to have this distance, okay? On the next strike, when I'm watching you, you're in close like this. So if this strike doesn't work for some reason, I'm in trouble there, right? So instead of stepping in there, what you do is you maintain your distance here, right? And you pull this left foot back. Which one did I do? Oh, you pull this left foot back here.
Yeah.
So I'm still at that range.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go again. Back up, please. So here, right, I step back. Here, you see my distance is still long. Okay, so I keep that long range. We're going to look at a slightly different variation, right? As James comes in here, I receive the same way. I knock this down the same way, but now I'm going to switch my feet here to strike, okay? Once again. So I receive, I hit kote, and I strike back in. You see, that allows me to have a lot more power to drive that in there, okay? From here, I'm in Ichimonji. I receive, I strike kote here. Instead of flipping, right, I'm going to come in with my legs. And you see the intensity of that strike can knock James aside. I receive, strike, strike, okay? All right, so this first strike is important, right? Here, okay? I don't know if you could see the motion of that. It's all part of the same motion. Once more. So here, I receive, and that just drops, okay? So there's this feeling after you receive here, dropping. So it's gravity, right? It's my kamae and gravity that drops that end. And if you need more distance, if you feel like you're too crowded, you let the stick slide in your hand so it gets longer, okay? Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that from here you're not just putting that in there politely. It's gravity to knock his sword out of his hand, okay? When you hit it across kote there, it'll probably make him let go, right? All right, so I'm in Ichimonji here, right? I receive here, that drops down on kote. For this last one, depending on where his sword is, I can come up under it and strike down too, right? So I keep it controlled the whole way. So here, that's on kote. If his sword is in my way here, when I come back through, you see how just coming back through, I can knock the sword aside, right? And I'm doing it on the wood, but you can do it on the hands.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that first strike to kote doesn't clear the sword, you clear it on the second. Yeah. From here, I receive, I strike kote. See, my distance is still long, right? So now when I come back through here, see how I'm pushing him away, right? Keeping that long distance. One more time. So I receive here, strike kote. I'm still long here, so it's hard for James to reach me there easily, right? Got that long range. So now when I strike through with this end, I don't want to come here. It's dangerous, right? Instead, I want to project the bow out and control, okay? So I'm making it long. And this strike, if it goes through the sword, is going to the head, right? That's my target. I'm here, right? I'm on kote here. If his sword is out there in the middle, right? I strike through it, okay? So it goes. Yeah, I got him in the target, right? So it goes through the sword up into Kasumi or in Uko here under the jaw. So that's where you're aiming, right? So after you hit the kote, you strike through the sword to the target. And so that does two things for you. It clears the sword, but also attacks the opponent, which is the problem, right? The sword isn't the problem, he is, so you might as well attack him. So you don't have to do it as aggressively as I did, right? But have that feeling of going to the target. I receive this way, I strike down this way, and now I come around to that side of his head. All right? So here, I receive kote. All right, over there, Paul. So receive, strike kote here, and then I flip this here. So it's coming around to that side. You want to, I'm trying to do it controlled here, but you want to do it with your whole body so that you drive through the target, okay? One more this way. Here, I receive strike kote. See my distance? Wow, okay. He's kind of a sitting duck there, right? You just want to let it fly in helicopter fashion, right? I'm controlling it so it's safer, but you come here and you let it fly in this helicopter fashion, right? I receive, this is gravity, okay? This is also gravity, okay? So it's like my body is letting it fly. So it should have that fluid quality to it using taijutsu, right? One more. So here, gravity. Okay, you see James's kamae there, right? When you're doing Ihen Sabaki, the Ihen can occur at any moment in the kata, right? It could be at the beginning, in the middle, the end, anytime. And there could be multiple places where it happens. So let's look at how that might occur. So I'm here in my Ichimonji, James comes in, right? From here, I can use this to project out, right? Once more. So I receive this way and then project. You see what happened there? Okay. I'm driving him back and then I strike kote. Okay, let's go this way. So here, I receive this here, right? Okay, so when we're talking about creating distance or space, there's a lot of ways it can happen. I can back out like we've been doing, right? Or I can drive him away. And in the process of driving him away, he's going to do something that might overcommit him or make a mistake that I can exploit, right? So here I receive. I'm driving back. And depending on how he reacts to that, that tells me what I do next, right? So I'm here driving back. I think I'm getting the finger, so. Yeah. So here I receive, driving Paul back here, right? And then I can attack kote. So you see how I've controlled this. My distance is kind of sketchy. So after I knock this loose, I might back out again, right? I don't want to park there if it's a little sketchy. One more. So here, driving back. You see that move opens up targets for me in the kukan as I turn him around, right? So I'm here. You see the rhythm there? So as that expands, as the space expands when I'm pushing you away, that's when this end falls. The space opens up and then I fill it with a strike, okay? So I receive here and then I can come on the other side of the sword. You see how that's still covered there? Yeah, so his sword is ineffective at this point. Yeah. So I can knock it and then hit once more. So I have this, but because of my distance, I'm allowing the tip to rise over the sword, and then I can strike. Yeah. So here I'm shielded, right? But I'm also shielded by my distance. Yeah. So if I pull this back,
he has to step forward.
Yeah, and if he does step forward, right? Yeah. That's the kind of feeling you want to have with Ihen. The change can happen in a moment, and you change with it, right? Once more. So I receive here, and I let this slide over, and that allows me to enter. So here, see how it's slid over? Yeah. Okay, just that kind of control, right? And even here, I'm still staying with it. Okay. So he may think he's escaping, but he's not. Okay, try that out, you guys. So let the block shield you, but shield yourself with your distance, so that if you pull over the sword, you can knock it through. Yeah, that strike is very easy right there. Yeah. I'm here, I receive, I fade out, so I move the whole sword aside there. Right, then I can attack it if I want. So here, right, here I'm shielded by the bow and distance. right? So he can't cut because he can't get through the bow. He would have to come around or under, right? So I'm shielded by the bow and my distance. When I go like this, now I'm only shielded by distance. So if he enters, I need to stay out, right? So you have to keep that distance adaptive. So again, I'm receiving here, right? From this position here, I'm going to use the tip of my bow to come in. You see where this has put James, right? I'm not even doing anything, but he's locked up here. I had to let him go because his arm was wrapped around the bow, and that would have been an ugly fall for his shoulder. So from here, I project this towards the Suba and to kote. Okay, so you see it's all blocked and covered there. So I can enter now with a variety of attacks. You see how he's covered here? So you're still shielding with the bow. From here, you drive it down to cover his suka, okay, and his hands. Here. So I'm using the bow as a shield the whole way through, right? So here, two. So Paul's kamae is getting jacked up here. His hands are blocked. It's an awkward position either way. Okay, so he's kind of trapped here, and I can easily get the sword. One more. Let's go that way. So here I receive, driving this in to trap his hands. I'm moving out of the way so the camera can see, but it's just blocked here. So there's lots of targets at that point. Oh. So I'm just controlling him and trapping things. I've got his foot trapped, right? And this stick is across his back. So this is taking a little effort on my part. All right. So the safest place is right there. On the inside? Yeah, beyond his suba. If you put it here, he has a lot of room to maneuver. Yeah, go back. But here it's harder for him to maneuver, and you can do other things. Okay. So basically the hands on the sword are like a pivot point, right? He can pivot from there to do other cuts. So by controlling that pivot point, it's a lot harder for him to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. 1300円お預かりします。